But like you said, when you start using, like the study tools from your phone, you can kind of weave that into your normal day. So you're getting a ton of study time in, even though did you say mountain biking? Yeah.
Yes, I'll listen to.
That's cool.
Yes, I'll listen to CPA stuff while I'm on
I
biking,
mean,
and
yeah,
then yeah, I'll just have it on repeat. And I just told myself that the luxury of listening to the music or a podcast or a video can wait.
exactly. Welcome to episode 62 of the CPA Exam Experience podcast from SuperfastCPA. I'm Nate, and in today's interview, you're going to hear me talk with John. John is a SuperfastCPA customer and now a CPA. Now, John has a great story. For example, when he started the study process, his main strategy was the most time-consuming thing that I've ever heard. But luckily, he quickly found a better way. And in this interview, like all the other interviews, we touch on all parts of the study process, so you will hear all kinds of tips, tricks, strategies for all parts of the study process. But John also has a lot to say on mindset and motivation. Now, before we jump into the interview, if this is the first episode you've heard or you've never taken the time to watch one of our free strategic CPA study workshops, then that is without a doubt the most helpful place for you to start. This is a free 45-minute training that will save you months and months of time and frustration from trying to figure this stuff out on your own. And essentially, every person that you've heard on the podcast started by attending one of these same free trainings. So to sign up for one of those sessions, you can click the link down below in the description, or you can go to our homepage at SuperfastCPA.com. It's the main thing at the top of the page. Or you could text the word "pass now," one word, text "pass now" to 44222. So with that out of the way, let's get into this interview with John. So you're done with all four, right? When did you finish your fourth exam?
My fourth exam, I just looked this up today because I forgot. But my fourth exam was finished December 18th, 2020.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, finished.
And when did you start the process?
I started back in 2018 actually, but it took me about 18 months just to go from like internship to full-time offer and getting my study materials and going in, getting your education verified and doing all your requirements for Texas. So it took me a long time. Plus I wasn't really taking it all that serious. Yeah. I was just, trying to survive the public accounting and all that stuff. And so I just would study for a couple of weeks, and then it was just overwhelming, so I would stop, and then it would be like another month go by, and then I start thinking about it. And remember my manager, she told me just to keep doing the multiple choice questions till you want to, throw up.
Yeah.
And then throw up and do some more multiple choice questions. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something in there. So I kept that in mind, but I didn't study till 2020. So it took me that long to finally get my candidate fully CPA candidate license and got all the study materials ready, and boom, I started studying back in December 2019.
Yeah.
And it took me like 6 months to take my first test because of the COVID and
that's right,
shutdowns and everything.
Yeah.
So I took my fall in May. That was my first test.
Okay. So really it was about 6 or 7 months once you just took your first one from your first one to passing your last one. Once you got going, right? May 2020 to December 2020.
Yeah. So once I took my first test, yeah.
Nice.
That's right.
Yeah, well, let's go back a little bit. So, how'd you get into accounting in general? Like, how did you end up in accounting in school and start going down that path?
Okay, so it took me a long time to go to college from high school because I joined the military
Okay.
after high school. So I joined the U.S. Army and I spent 7 years just doing fun things. I was an all-wheel mechanic, so I was able to go around the world, and because there's always gonna be a need for mechanics everywhere. So so I did that, and then I got out, and I went back to my parents' house, and wanted to give this college thing a try, and I met my wife when I was in the army, and I was trying to get her to the States because I met her when I was stationed in Korea and stuff. Anyways, all that took time, and then I was in my first accounting class because I just joined to be just a general, like a degree. I didn't know what I was gonna do, and my first accounting professor, I remember this first class, he asked what everybody's major was, and everybody was going around, but I think it was only like one or two accounting students. So he was like, why not accountants? Why not CPA? So I thought about that, and I was already I was already getting married. I had my child on the way, so I was like, man, I need to get a job like right away after college. I don't have time to hear all these horrible stories about people graduating with just business degrees, not being able to get a job unless you get your startup or whatever. So I was like, so I talked to him, and he's like, get your CPA license and you work for me. And he was telling me about his stories and how it took him like so many tries to get it, but he got it, and how that was really, it really inspired me. So I decided to do accounting. So I changed that's what I majored in, and I got my first internship with the national firm, and that's how I just got started.
That's awesome.
After graduating.
Yeah. I mean, it has to happen some way. Okay, so you finish school and you're doing the requirements. Once you were ready to study, how did you get started? I mean, I'm assuming you just got a review course and kind of jumped into it.
Okay, yeah. So my firm, they're really nice. They asked me what materials that I wanted, and at that time, the manager that told me about those MCQs, just kept doing them. She said she recommended me Gleim. That's what she used. So I got my Gleim things, and then luckily I got the one where you can just have it till you pass kind of thing. So see, because it took me over the 1 year, it took me like so long. So glad I got that. Anyways, I got started, and then I started writing the book. Just word by word on the notebook.
Oh, you meaning taking notes? You were just basically rewriting it?
Yeah, the thickest book they give you, the 4-4. So I was writing unit 1. I was writing word by word on a notebook.
Oh man, okay.
And it took me like 3 chapters, and I was burned out. My hand was not liking it. I wasn't learning much, and so I was like, okay. And I was like, it was just so long, and there was so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do the traditional way where I just read it and just write little notes and MCQs. But man, it was just so time consuming because that book is really thick, and I just felt like there has to be a better way, but I didn't know. I was like, okay, I just gotta get through it. So I'm kind of glad that the COVID did shut down and stuff, because I wasn't finished.
Yeah.
And they kept shutting it down. I'm like, oh, but they shut it down, but I'm not finishing the book because it's just so much. So I'm like, so at the end, I think over the 6 months, I did over 8,000 multiple choice questions.
Wow.
200 sims, and I read all the chapters, but I was very burnt
Yeah.
out, and I barely like when I was taking the test, I was like, man, I hope I'm getting lucky on some of these things because I don't think I would pass.
Right.
After all this studying,
Yeah.
right? So I got my score and it was an 82. So I was very happy, but I was like, man, there has to be a better way. And I feel like I got really lucky on the sims and stuff. So I was like, so I studied right away my next thing, which was audit. And I would study during the night, during the day. And then at night, I would look for ways to study,
Yeah.
And I would go on Reddit posts. I would go on all these different sites to look for how other people study. Not because I knew it was gonna be hard work, but I wanted to study most effectively and most efficiently.
Right.
Because I didn't want to feel like not prepared to take the test. I mean, I know it's very hard to get to that confidence level where you feel good about it, but I just didn't want to do what I did on floor.
Yeah.
It was just too much. So when I was studying the audit, I ran into a post. I think that's one of your posts or one of the posts about SuperfastCPA and how I think that was your story, right? How you were able to pass after the first one. You realized you weren't studying correctly and you passed everything kind of quickly.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, okay, that sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
So I signed up for the webinar which you hosted, and I was sold right away. And after the webinar, I signed up for the for the stuff, and then I downloaded the stuff. So I started implementing the Superfast CPA way into my grind every
Nice.
day. I mean, it's not like it's a magic,
Right.
There's no like a magic will get you through, but it was really nice to have the audiobooks and the notes and those app with the MCQs.
Yeah.
So way I started doing was how you went over it on the webinar, listen to those audiobooks. So I would listen to them when I'm driving, when I'm walking, when I'm mountain biking. I would always have my earphones, and I would hear you going over those things, and I would go to sleep listening to it, or wake up brushing my teeth listening to it. And then those notes are really, really, really helpful because I never read the book after that. I never touched the Gleim book.
Really?
It's like I'm just gonna just read the notes and then listen to the audiobooks and then do the MCQs. So I would do those MCQs on the apps whenever I'm like waiting for food or watching TV or something. Or watching something on the phone. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna do a couple of testlets and then watch something on YouTube for like next 20 minutes to relax or whatever. And I did MCQs every day. I did like 100 to 150 every day, and throw some sims in there. Once I got tired of MCQs, I move on to sims, and once I get tired of that, move back to MCQs. But so I was able to get even a better score and studying less using the super fast materials, along with just with a lot of MCQs I did with Gleim.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I did the audit that way, and BEC next, and then reg, same thing, just grinding every day, studying every day, and just knowing that I'm studying the right stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing that I'm following the blueprint, so you gave me the confidence, and you gave me like the light was really bright at the end. I just had to get there.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Like you said, it's not there. There isn't just a super easy solution to this. Like it's still going to take dedicated work every day. But like you said, when you start using like the study tools from your phone, you can kind of weave that into your normal day. So you're getting a ton of study time in, even though did you say mountain biking? Yeah.
Yes, I will listen to.
That's cool.
Yes, I will listen to CPA stuff while I'm on biking. Then I would just have it on repeat, and I just told myself that the luxury of listening to the music or a podcast or a video can wait.
Exactly.
I had to. The test, like once you sign up for that test date is set, and you have all the materials and you have all the support and help in place, which can take a long time to get yourself
Right.
there and get yourself in the situation to study like that. But once you have it all set up, you gotta go in, dedicate, and just make some sacrifices because it's not an easy thing. I don't think it's to pass.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Very challenging.
Well, so let's contrast though your average day when you were studying for FAR, and then when you kind of started using our study tools, or like what were the two differences in just your daily routine?
The differences, I think the study time was about the same, but just the way I study was different.
Okay.
Because before I would spend, like I said, I would just write so intensive notes and doing all these things with those battling every page of the book because it's just hard to get through that. It's very. I mean, for me, it was very hard because I don't learn like through the reading about how to do stuff. I want to do multiple choice things.
Yeah.
You know? So just my study time. I mean, I still didn't have much free time at all, but just the way I study was different. So instead of spending so much time on the books, I would just read those notes, which takes like 1/10 of the time you'll take to read a book.
Yeah.
And then I would do the audiobooks and those multiple choice questions, but I would focus like 85% of my time on multiple choice and sims.
There you go. Yeah, that's the thing I get asked sometimes is people will say like, I want to use something that goes along with my learning style, and and that can be helpful, but the fact is like everyone has to go in and take the same exam on test day. It's like the exam doesn't like care what your learning style is, So you want to, if you're trying to pass or do well on what you're going to see on the exam, then logically you would spend most of your time doing that exact thing, like you just said, like doing multiple choice questions and practice sims.
Yes.
What about?
Because it's not so much about. It's not so much about knowledge. I think it is a lot of knowledge, but you have to have the test taking skill and time management.
Exactly.
And all that just comes through just every day doing those test lists of 33, just like you're just simulating yourself being on a test and just being super laser focused and studying like that.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's really hard. It's really hard, but you have to. I feel like I had to do that to prepare.
Yeah. No, I mean everyone does, and it's true. Like what you said about knowledge versus kind of the way that I always say it is, it's like the context is different. You can read the textbook and learn things like in paragraph format or whatever, but the way that translates into the exam questions and the simulations, that's a totally different context. So again, you want to spend most of your time learning the context you're actually going to have to apply it on test day. So, but yeah.
Yes, and that's the big thing I learned from your stuff, your study way, and your material was to study like that. So, I mean, it was still hard. It was still grinding every day, but it gave me the confidence that I am studying most like effectively, most proven way, the way I experienced it, how it was for me from studying both different ways. So it was just like, it was still hard, but like I said, the light was a little bit brighter studying this way.
Yeah.
And it gave me more motivation to keep on doing it because this is the way to do it,
Yeah. Well, and probably, I mean, you probably experienced this when you're doing sets of 30. Again, it's just kind of like immediate feedback on what you're going to be doing on test day. Whereas if you're just day after day, just reading the textbook, trying to understand, just the textbook or just the videos, it's hard to really know. I mean, not only is it hard, it's just, it's really easy to just feel lost, or like, I'm not sure if this is all, if I'm just wasting my time or not. I mean, you probably mentioned this, like you had a family basically, but one question I always ask is, on days where you really didn't want to study, what would you tell yourself, or like what kept you motivated each day?
Well, there's so many ways you can, so many temptations and so many days you want to give up,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, you gotta use whatever works. And sometimes I would just take a day off. I'll take a day off or 2 days off just to, just to, just treat myself,
Yeah.
just thinking like, okay, I did good, so I can take a day off or two because I've been on this path for a while. Or some days, just life happens and you have to take a day off. But so I didn't plan on taking a day off, but if life happens or sometimes I have to take a day off, I will. But you can trick yourself, like you can just trick your mind saying you're only gonna do like a little bit of studying, right? You're gonna do just a little bit, just gonna do like a testlet.
Yeah.
And then once you get going, you're like, it's not so bad. So you do like another testlet or whatnot. You can trick yourself into doing something like that, or just writing stuff on the mirror of your goals. That helped me. I wrote down there my goals, so I wake up every day and I'll brush my teeth and I'll look at it. I'm like, oh, those are the things I'm working on. So
That's awesome.
you can do that. And and at nighttime you can tell yourself things before you go to sleep, like, and being grateful. So every night I would say to myself that I'm a great CPA and I'm doing this to help my clients and better myself and my family, and just tell myself goals that I want to achieve at night, and listen to your audiobooks and go to sleep.
Oh, I saw that in your note. I was going to ask you that. Yeah. Oh man, hope you didn't have any nightmares after doing that.
No, but I will put it on the put my phone to go to sleep within like 30 minutes or something. So it's not gonna be on the whole night, but it will be on what I'm. So just tell yourself, just know why you're doing it. Me, I was studying and because I was already working in public accounting, and clients would ask me questions and I will not know or something, and it doesn't feel good. You're an accountant, so you want to know some stuff, right? You want to provide some value to the client. So I kept thinking those questions they ask you. One thing that motivated me sometimes was I would treat that like as if clients were asking me those questions, those simulations. Like I would be like, okay, this client that just bought this business and they're going through this and they're asking me this question. So I would trick my mind, like thinking that I'm working on weird stuff. So there's something is not just studying those things over and over. Like you're actually like thinking about using this and bettering your profession and stuff like that. So when becoming a professional. So just there's like those are all the ways that I did to kind of like motivate myself, and just kept grinding and just being disciplined and just having those times, like getting into the habit, so you don't have to fight it so much. You just kind of like wake up and follow your schedule.
Yes.
Makes it but it's definitely a battle every day. You have to wake up and you have to be ready to battle it, or you'll just take over all your time.
Yeah.
You have to wake up every day and just battle every day.
No, I agree with everything you said. I mean, basically, and I did all that same type of stuff. I was very, very much into that. Writing affirmations, saying affirmations. Like the thing about this CPA exam process and the study process is it's this thing that you have, like you said, you're working full time, you have a family already. like you were already busy. It's not like you were, goofing off all day and then trying to study. You were already busy. And so doing this process, it's like this big add-on that's not that fun. It's not that interesting. It's like everything about it is hard. And so you have to be strategic about not even just how you study, but like you just explained, keeping yourself in the mindset day to day takes like strategy. I like how you explained that. You just had multiple different ways of kind of keeping yourself motivated, but also logically kind of pointing out to like constantly reminding yourself, okay, this is why I'm doing this. And I did the same kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And once you have all the support, as meaning, CPA, that's your thing. I mean, other people cannot study for you. So the most important thing you can have is your materials that you're studying. And once you have the stuff that you like, the ones that is working for you, and it really works, man, that's a game changer. You can just, instead of worrying about, oh, am I studying it right? Is this gonna be on the test? Whatever. No, just forget about that stuff. You get the stuff that works, and then you study it, and then you just focus on studying. You don't focus on what if or what not, because there's a blueprint where all the test questions are gonna come from, and the notes that I'm studying with your study material covers all those things on the blueprint. So as long as I study that, and as long as I get my practice in on the MCQs, and I just put in the time, that's all I can do, and nothing else kind of stand there. It's a big rock, and I'm just chipping at it every day, little by little, and and we're gonna get through the other side. And I just had the stuff, so I just kept going. Yeah.
Well, okay. So again, in other words, momentum, right? Once you kind of figure out your process,
you got to get in the habit. Yes.
Yep. I talk about that all the time too. So, yep. Would your weekends, I'm assuming you didn't just study like 12 hours a day on weekends. Like how would you study differently on weekends, or what was just your process for the weekends compared to like a weekday study routine?
Well, weekends for, it just depends on how that week went. So if the week I didn't put in as much time on the weekdays, I would go ahead and leave some time on the weekends to additional time, or try to catch up. But I would try to have like at least a good half day or something off on the weekend, or something like that, where you just study just a little bit, or just go over the notes just for like maybe like less than an hour or something, or not, or sometimes not even, just take the full day off. But it just depends on because I feel like you have to do a lot of multiple choice questions. For me, that's the way I learned. So as long as you're getting those multiple choice questions in every day, I mean, then I can take a day off, one of those.
Well, and like you said, I mean, again, going back to your mountain biking example, the nice thing about having study tools like on your phone, whether or not they're ours or not, I mean, just anything, you can do it in these little chunks while you're off doing normal stuff.
Yes.
It's not like you got to be sitting in front of your computer in front of your full review course. You can still be making progress in tiny, I mean, you use the example chipping away at a big rock. Like, yeah, that basically sums it up.
Yes. Yeah, there's a saying in Korea that a constant drip of water will break a big rock.
Yeah.
So every multiple choice question I did, I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting there. But man, yeah, you're because I try other audiobooks, and even the stuff that the firm bought for me had audiobooks, but it's not the same quality as your audiobook, because I did like 3 different audiobooks, and they were okay. But I liked yours because it went over just like the notes, so I could actually, if I wanted to, I could just read the notes while I'm listening to the
Yeah.
audiobook. So I have my iPad with the notes, and I'll listen to your audiobook and I follow along, so I can do the double
A
learning.
lot of people say
And I
that.
would do
Yeah.
that, yeah. And I would do that. I did that in the morning before I went over to take the test. Because the notes are not long at
Hmm.
all. Audio notes are like an hour, and you can speed it up just a little bit because you listen to it every day, so you can speed
Yeah.
it up a little bit while you're going through the notes, and it would take me like anywhere between like it would take me like a solid 40 minutes. But that's a 40 minutes of everything that's
Yeah.
there will be covered on the test, so you kind of like refresh yourself. And then I would listen to the audiobooks all going to the testing center and waiting in the parking lot. And then I would do a little quick prayer and then go in.
Nice. Yeah, that
And
was
then
going to be
take
my
the
next
test.
question. So you're basically talking about your final review or like the last day or two before an exam. So you would read the notes
Yeah.
all the way through like a couple times or once or whatever. What else would you do in that
Yeah,
day before?
I would do it. Yeah, for so a, a week before the test. That's when I grind out all the multiple choice questions. So on Gleim, you're able to choose where those questions come
Hmm.
from, and then I would do just one. I would do all the chapters. I send the questions from all the chapters. So I would make a testlet of 100 questions like
Okay.
that, and I would do like 200 questions a day for those 5 days. So that's a solid like 1,000
Yeah,
questions.
that's
You get
exactly.
in.
That's the perfect way
Yeah.
to spend the
Hmm.
last 2 days. Yep.
Yeah, and then on the last day of the my full studying time, I would go ahead and read the notes again with the
Okay.
audio, kind of split it up so I can kind of just follow
Yeah.
along fast. And there would be like an hour. It would take me like 45 minutes to do that. And in the morning, just do your normal routine. Wake up, breakfast, whatever, drink coffee, go
Yeah.
drive, make that drive. I mean, luckily for me, I only had to drive like 25
Hmm.
minutes for a testing center. So in the morning, I would just drive over. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, and I took tests during the morning. Yeah, because that's when I kind of study, like early in the
Yeah.
morning. So that's when I test.
Yeah, that's when I would always do it. I just like doing it better. Um, one person, and that's where like there's all these things. They're like these like pillars to the study process that really matter. Like you have to be doing them, but then you can do things like your own way. Like one person on one of the interviews mentioned that she would just stress out so bad having like an 8 o'clock test time that she couldn't sleep very good the night before, and someone
Yeah,
suggested.
you had to get your
Yeah,
sleep.
someone
Yeah.
suggested, why don't you set it at noon then? And after that, she didn't fail another exam.
Mm,
And she really thinks that was like the single
nice.
difference. So yeah, there's stuff that
Yes,
works best for you.
for sure. You gotta know when you're performing. Like for me, my performance mode, because where I studied was in the morning time, so you just worked out beautifully. I'll wake up and then I would do those tests of 100
Hmm.
questions. So those 33 questions were
Yep.
nothing. There's like 60 something questions. Those if you're used to doing 100 questions at a time, sitting down practicing like that, those 66 questions. I mean, they're gonna be hard, but it's not like you're not used to it. You're used to it. You're ready. So
That's
just
a good
gotta.
point, and that's a good tip. Kind of like
Mm.
over prepare so that the actual like that idea of practicing harder than what a game is like or whatever for sports.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah,
idea.
and I was able to, yeah, and of course, and I was able to do that because I bought your stuff too, so I don't have to spend those time reading those thick
Yeah.
books. I can just study during the things that will be on the test, which is, and they don't ask you how many pages of books you read before you
Correct.
sit down. They just give you this questions, and you just have certain time to finish. So that's what I focused, like I said, 85% of my time on. And I had a confidence studying that way because the audiobooks and the notes were just so good that I knew I believed in them. So I was like, this is what I need to know. So I can focus on doing the test.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, and I'm glad they were that helpful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much. You helped me so much.
So you didn't watch video lectures or anything? You would just read our notes, and then for the section you were about to cover, and then you would just do MCQs and sims?
Yeah. I did the videos when I was studying FAR. I'd read a bit and watch the videos, but no, not ever since I start implementing your stuff. I just did your stuff just to get all my knowledge, and then I would just go straight into multiple choice questions. And the way I did them was, so I would do a set of hundreds, right? At first I started doing 33s, but I would just do so many of them, so I just started doing them by hundreds. And yeah, where I'll learn is I'll do all, and whenever you're doing it, whenever it's wrong, they tell you on the study mode, they tell you why you got it wrong and why some of the questions are right. So if it doesn't make any sense to you, you can just start finding out why this is right, why other questions are wrong, and just studying it that way.
Yeah.
You study your materials through studying the test, and if you need to just learn some like specific stuff that you can't find anywhere, then you can just go into more details on those. But mainly learning from audiobooks, notes, and just doing yeah, nothing else.
Awesome. Well, what about your? What was it like when you got your 4th passing score and realized you were done?
Yeah. So, man, it was kind of I expected to be more happy than I was. I was really happy, but I heard a story of some people that achieved the thing they really thought they wanted, and then they get it, and it's like what I do now, because I was so used to those modes of having something to grind every day, and so I was like, oh, I'm finished, so I gotta start thinking about something else. But I was exhausted, too, so it was nice to finally finish and get it over with. But I don't know. I mean, now I'm a CPA, and isn't the things don't come in ABCD,
exactly.
like your answers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got one thing out of the way, but now you have, like, with great power comes great responsibility. So I have the power now, but now I also have the responsibility, and I gotta be morally and ethically and everything, and professional, and just it's nice to be on the playing field of other CPAs. And then like, you can graduate and everybody's a doctor, but what makes a great doctor? Like, same thing with CPAs. I feel like,
for sure.
Yeah, you're a CPA, I'm a CPA, everybody's a CPA, but what makes a great CPA? So now I can focus on those things, being a great CPA and being a great professional, other than worrying about studying and stuff like that. So it's nice, but it's also a different challenge of being a CPA, and salary boost. So it's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a bonus and stuff like that. So it's definitely a bonus momentarily, and just it's nice knowing that you're a CPA, just like and that's something that you always wanted to be. Like, I always wanted to be, like, ever since my first class of accounting, when I talked to the professor, and he's like, why not accounting? Why not CPA? So it just took a long journey, just getting yourself mentally prepared just to even study. That was, like, the longest part for me. Even getting over the obstacles and stuff to even become a candidate was a big thing for me. Even getting your transcripts. I mean, it sounds all easy if you're really determined, but if you're not, it can take forever. And if you're not in the right mind space, that can take forever too. So just getting yourself there was a big thing. And once you're there, I would definitely recommend people to get the audiobooks, get the notes from the Superfast CPA to really focus. I really focus on studying the right stuff, and so you can. I mean, for me, it worked out wonders, and I mean, I was able to get better scores studying less hours, but still putting in the grind every day, and just knowing that you're studying the right stuff made a big difference for me. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad it could help.
Thank you and all the people involved with the Superfast CPAs, man. You guys are really awesome.
Yeah, that's great to hear. It's just awesome to hear people's like these full stories from people. Like we get a lot of emails, and we've only been doing this podcast like a year, but we'd get emails a lot, which are awesome to hear people's thank you emails and stuff, but like to get on these calls and hear somebody's full story, it's just been a lot of fun doing all these interviews. And so, yeah, that's good to hear. And
sure. Yeah.
I'm glad it could help. So let's do, the last thing I always ask is what, if you could give your top 2 or 3 tips to somebody who's currently studying, what would those be? Even if it's stuff we already covered.
Well, if you're studying, well, congratulations. Because even to study the CPA stuff, that means you went through all that stuff from college, you got your credits, and you became a candidate. I mean, that took me forever. Mm-hmm. So, first of all, congratulations. You're almost there. So I would say go ahead and do whatever it takes to get it done, and whatever works for you. You heard my story, and you hear all the stories from the podcast, which will inspire you. So take those inspirations. Those are like little kindlings, but you have to build it with your why. So just find your why. I mean, it sounds pretty cliche, but just find your why. Just congratulate yourself and find your why, and just know that you're very close. So don't give up. Don't ever give up. You're very close. It's one test at a time. If you want to study for real, get the get the Superfast CPA and study for real, and do those multiple choice questions. So those are my tips.
I like that. If you want to study for real, get Superfast CPA. Might have to add that.
Yeah, because the traditional way was not working for me. I barely passed, and I got so lucky. I feel like. So yeah.
That's awesome.
So just yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that was the interview. I hope you found that interview helpful from a strategic point of view, as well as hopefully motivating and inspiring. If you did find it helpful, I would just ask 2 things. First, consider subscribing either to the podcast on your favorite podcast app or subscribing to the channel on YouTube so that you don't miss any future episodes. And then the second thing is, I think that these are the most helpful resource available anywhere for CPA candidates that are trying to figure out a successful study process. Because of course, you get to hear from candidate after candidate and their detailed story of the things they struggled with, the breakthroughs they had, the things that were working, the things that weren't working. And of course, these episodes are completely free. So the second thing I would ask is be a good friend or colleague and share these episodes either in YouTube format or on the podcast. Share them with someone you know that's also working on their CPA exams. Thank you for watching or listening, and we will see you on the next episode.